Hi, I'm Rick Dior, and welcome back to my Portraits in Rhythm Snare Drum series. That was solo number 5 from the book, and it's a doozy. So this is not a great audition solo. It's more of a technical solo as far as the rhythms go. We have a couple lines here that are pretty much standard fare in my teaching rhythmically for a lot of my high school students, sometimes younger. But lines 7 and 8, where we have these triplet figures and 16th note figures. Very, very tricky. So like I said in the first video all the way, a couple weeks ago when I posted it probably, these types of books are really great for your reading. You may not, if you're a drum set player, you do studio work, you may not ever see anything this complex, but you'd be like a turbocharged engine as far as being able to sight read this stuff, which is the goal, really, is to be able to sight read this and play it well. Then you could pretty much read anything rhythmically. So let's start at the beginning before we get to those tricky lines 7 and 8. This solo is in 3/4. It's moderato. We're doing it at quarter note equals 112, which is the written tempo. We have some tied notes here. So remember, when a note is not have a roll on it, and it's tied to another note, you leave that note out, okay? So the first 2 bars sound like this. 1, 2, 3. So you see when it's rolled, you play it. When it's not rolled, you leave it out, all right? You'll see some phrasing markings here. They're important, just slight emphasis on those phrases so we can feel the pulse there. Let me play the first line for you. 1, 2, 3. So you see that that kind of, those notes group together, a slight accent when you're reintroducing the note group. It's musical. Again, like I've said in all the past videos, it's up to you, but I just like that kind of thing in my playing. And if you play with an ensemble, it's important to phrase. So nothing real tricky here. The first really complicated thing we have is line 4. So this solo is all about note groupings, right? So you have 8th notes, you have 16ths, and you have triplets, in 8th note triplets. So line 3 and 4, this is really where that starts happening. So let's play that for you. Here's line 3. 1, 2, 3. So you see a little emphasis on those 8th notes. It's kind of an over the bar line figure. So line 4, which I played into there, the 3rd and 4th bar have these 4-stroke roughs. I'm playing those right, left, left, right, because they happen so fast. And then a very, very tricky sticking last bar of line 4. So up to tempo. 1, 2, 3. So you see all that with one hand. All right, so that's a sticking that's going to kick your butt there. And then we have this accent kind of thing, 2nd bar of line 5. I'll play line 5 for you. 1, 2, 3. If you're used to playing rhythms with accents, like in my books, all these exercises I've been showing you over the years, that should be simple. Otherwise, you want to put your accent a couple inches higher than your primary note. So I really like to bring out those accents there. Then line 6, you're just getting softer each particular measure. It's repeating, but it's getting quieter. This seems to be a thing with Mr. Cirone, where he has these themes and he just repeats them just like regular music. And then we have the last bar of line 6 going into the hell. That's line 7 and 8. So let me just show you the last bar of line 6 slowly. It's kind of a little Wilcoxon figure right there. You can keep those open or closed. Throughout this section, I like to open my drags just a little. I like it. I think it's funky. You don't have to do that, but again, it's kind of a Wilcoxon thing there. And I'm playing that with one hand. And then we get to line 7. So when I'm teaching this, the first thing I do is I have the student take out all of the embellishments, which means the drags. And we'll play it basically with one hand. And slow. So we'll go at like 100. 1, 2, 3. So that's step 1, and you could do it even slower than that, and you should subdivide. Triplet, triplet, one ienda. So the triplet should subdivide triplet, 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 one ienda, triplet, triplet. That's what I'm thinking in my head when I'm doing this. Okay, I'm subdividing internally. This is really, really important because when you play with an ensemble of 100 people in an orchestra, if they're not all subdividing, it's going to be a disaster, what we call a train wreck. So you've got to subdivide in your head. So now I'll play it up to tempo, still without the drags. Okay, 1, 2, 3. One thing you'll notice is those 8th note triplet upbeats sound very similar to a 16th note. There's only a slight difference there, especially at this tempo. Now we'll add the drags, and the idea is to play all the notes with one hand, the drags with the other. 1, 2, 3. All right, you see I'm playing the drags slightly open. Again, I like that. You don't have to do that. And then we come back to sort of a little recap here. Line 9, I'll play that to the end for you. 1, 2, 3. So the last 2 bars, the last beat of the second bar from the end is really loud. Loudest thing in the whole thing, marcato, those are those rooftop accents, into the last bar, which is tenuto. It's beautiful, very, very musical. So I'll just play those last 2 bars. 1, 2, 3. And I play that last note even a little softer than written, and just, if you're performing it, visually do it too, like a tenuto, long note, bring it out of the drum. So this is a great solo for you teachers out there. Make sure you do lines 7 and 8 first, because the student will get there. And if they're young, they'll probably just start crying and throwing sticks and hiding under the bed. I don't know. That's what I used to do. So that's very, very important. And do it without the drags first. And then slowly introduce it, get faster and faster. And eventually, after about a year, they'll have it. So we'll be back soon with Solo 6.